what to do when you feel like relapsing, when you get that urge, when you get that urge where you're in your room, it's quiet, it's late at night, maybe it's like 11 p.m., 12 p.m., everyone's asleep, and you just tell yourself, oh, I should go watch porn, I should go watch that one video that I saw. What you want to do is begin thinking about happy thoughts. Think about when you were younger, when think of a funny moment. Think of something that makes you happy, and just constantly constantly keep thinking about those moments, because if you really think about it, when you're happy, you don't when you're happy, you're less likely to eat that junk food, drink that soda, do any of these bad habits. Why? Because you're happy and you're already full of happiness, rather than going and doing something bad to fill you up with that happiness. And that's also one thing that you can do, where when you get that urge to FAP, to watch porn, just just go on your phone, go on photos, just look at pictures of of yourself, where younger you, where you're like, oh, I remember this photo, oh, I remember that day, and then all of a sudden, you're happy, and then you see that you start to forget about porn, and just you're just happy, because you're seeing all these photos of younger you. Oh, you think of all these memories of of you, your family, and you just think to yourself, oh yeah, I remember this time. Oh, I remember how I tried to jump over that bucket, and then I fell on it, and you just and then you start to smile, and then you start to appreciate life, and then when you're like that, you're less likely to fap, you're less likely to do any of those bad stuff. And another one is try and another thing to do is be busy, because if you really think about it, when you're busy, when you're out, you're doing your homework, going out, doing side quests with your dad, going out with your mom, doing side quests with her, just being busy, not even being in your room, you're less likely to fap, because when you fap, it's when you're alone, when it's at night, or maybe it's early in the morning, where everyone is still asleep, it's quiet, you're bored, you don't have anything else to do. So what does boredom lead leads us to do? It leads us to do bad stuff. It leads us to watch porn. It makes us doom scroll, and then when you doom scroll, all of a sudden you see a provocative picture. You see a girl with yoga pants. You see this stuff, and then you get the urge, and that's how you relapse. And yeah, just that's what you should do when you get an urge. One is One is think happy thoughts, think of happy memories, happy moments, funny moments of you or your family. Think of something that makes you laugh, where you're like, oh, I remember that time when I threw that at him, and then all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, you're happy, and then when you're happy, you're less likely to fap, you're less likely to do any of these bad habits. And yeah, it just makes you more happy, just thinking of happy thoughts, just reminiscing about the old days of your younger self, where you were just running around playing soccer, doing all this stuff. You start to smile. You start to get happy. You get happy. Just thinking about all this stuff. And yeah, that's one thing. Just think happy thoughts when you get an urge. So basically, when I get an urge, I'm gonna think of this happy moment. And one thing is that you're gonna have to constantly keep thinking of happy thoughts, because if you just think of one, that urge is still gonna be there. That urge is gonna. It's like yeah, that urge is still gonna creep in. That urge is still there. So you constantly have to think happy thoughts throughout the day, maybe when you relapse throughout the day, or maybe when you're going out for a run, all this stuff, just constantly think happy thoughts, because when you think happy thoughts throughout the day, you're less likely to fap. Why? Because you're happy, because you're already filled with happiness. You don't need to watch that stuff, because you're already happy, because you're already fulfilled with happiness. And yeah, and also, just be busy, do things, do your homework, all this stuff. Because if you do that, you're just gonna be busy. You're not gonna have time to watch that. You're less likely to do that. And another thing is, whenever maybe you fap when you're about to go to bed, or maybe, yeah, maybe, just all that stuff. One thing is, hide your phone, hide it, because you really think about it. When you hide something away, you're less likely to do it. You're less likely to eat the junk food. Watch porn, doom scroll, and yeah, just hide your phone for when you're doing something. Or maybe it's before going to bed. Maybe just put it on the other side of the room, or maybe put it in a drawer. Maybe don't even have it in your room. And yeah, just think happy thoughts, be busy, hide your phone, so that way you're less likely to fap. Because if you have it there, you have your phone there, it's easily attainable. It's so easily, it's your it's easier for to watch that stuff. And yeah, just those three tips will help you. Well, it's what helped me. It's what helped me overcome all this stuff. And it helped me just not be a winky, not be a gooner. And yeah, just think happy thoughts, constantly think happy thoughts throughout the day. And also when you get the urge, because when you're happy, you're less likely to fap. When you're happy, you're less likely to eat that junk food. Why? Because you're happy. You don't need anything else to make you feel happy. You don't need to eat that cupcake. Why? Because you're already happy. Be busy throughout the day, and hide your phone. Put it somewhere where you're less likely to get it, and just not do that stuff. And yeah, that's basically my three tips to overcome this, overcome lust, overcome watching porn. And yeah, that's it.